the recording, and then very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our Isaka She Leads Tech SLT webinar for June 2024. Today, I'm very excited to have Lakshmi Venkatesh with us and to share a very much timely and trending topics. How do we balance digital transformation, innovation with cybersecurity? So I'll probably ask Lakshmi to introduce herself, but safe to say that she is definitely a very experienced person in technology and risk and obviously security as well. So we are very happy to have her to share with us in this webinar session. We will be doing a recording, but the recording will not be made available to everyone. Just wanted to be clear. But if you do have any questions along the way for Lakshmi, please feel free to use the Q&A chat box actually to ask questions, and we will cater to question and answers towards the end of the presentation. At the same time, in order to earn your CPE hours, please remember to stay back to the end of the session where we will be posting a survey form for you to fill up so that we will be giving you the CPE hours as a participation for this webinar. So without further ado, let me welcome Lakshmi.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be part of this quite interesting cohort, and thank you for inviting me to present. So my name is Lakshmi Venkatesh. I currently work for JAC. I head up the enterprise data architecture space. Prior to this, I was head of cloud and platform engineering with Standard Chartered. Prior to this, I was running the technology department for a company called Avanda Investment Management, where Mr. Kok Song ran for presidency. He's the chairman of the firm, and I used to work with him closely. So yeah, great to have worked with him. So this is my brief. I have nearly 24 years of experience in the space of data technology, cloud, digital transformation. So practically battle wounds. So as we all have, I have also my share of battle wounds in this particular space. So the topic of the day is balancing digital transformation and security, navigating the intersection of innovation and security. So this seems to be a pretty interesting topic because digital transformation and security, usually it is like, yes, I want to innovate. Security will say, okay, you can innovate, but you answer the following questions. There will be 3,000 questions checklist. They have to make sure that it is properly ring-fenced, everything is fine. Then once the internal security clearance is cleared, usually the regulators come after you and they ask, say, for example, in my previous firm, PRA came after us and asked, do you have resiliency? Do you have redundancy planning for each and every project? How are you thinking of putting your data here and there? What if your cloud gets crashed? What if the data is taken away like a suitcase? What if the data gets exposed to the dark web? All these things we need to be aware of and clear about. Because one of the key things that we are doing when we are doing digital transformation is we are moving from our own data center to someone else's data center. So that is the thing. But the myth and the reality is this. We all assume that we are running in our own data center, but it is not our own data center also. This particular data center is run by someone else. We are just paying them. So it is the same thing we are doing for the cloud. We are paying them, but it's a blast radius that is different. When we are running the data center that is on-premise, the blast radius is still limited. Say Singtel or someone else runs this data center, we know the failure pattern, we know the failure mechanism, we know the touch and feel people. In cloud, we don't know the touch and feel people. We don't know the solution architects, etc. We don't know where our cloud is running. We would not know. We just know it is in Singapore, somewhere. We would not be able to physically go to the data center. So that is the only difference between the on-premise and cloud. But both of them, we don't own it. We only pay for the services. None of it is ours to begin with. If we are writing a Java program or Python program, we did not invent the program. It is not organization's IP. There is someone else's IP that we are using. There is a lock-in in everything that we are going to talk about. So cloud is not the only lock-in. If you are using Oracle SQL Server, there is a lock-in. It's not like Oracle to Postgre, you can just transfer in 10 minutes than between AWS and Azure or AWS to on-premise. So that is the reality of the situation we are living in. I'm not going to publish the agenda. So let it be a bit of a surprise and we will just go with the flow and we'll just talk through the thoughts that I have in digital transformation and security. And I will just quickly share through what I felt and what are the battle wounds from the past. So going digital is a moving goalpost that we all know. So this particular entire digital transformation or the cloud saga, if I remember correctly, it started in 2006. So then there also started the product wars at the same point in time. Prior to 2006, there were product wars: Oracle versus Teradata versus SAP versus SQL Server. Those were the scheme of things from the database perspective. And there were CRM product wars, there were ERP product wars, there were data ingestion framework product wars. So you take any five pillar of the architecture, there will be wars all over the place. Be it so from ingestion to insights. So you had too many things like Tableau, this thing. Then slowly you had QLake, you had Power BI. So there is a war, divergence and convergence happening at all point in time. So after 2006, when cloud came into picture, so the individual product was not a superhero anymore. So if Oracle was just a individual product, it would not have lasted the test of time. So all those that was individual products only offering to itself, and that would sit in terms of the sit in the broader ecosystem, lost its significance and got dropped off from the Gartner chart. If you see, we will talk about it in a bit. Then from 2006 till 2010, new players in the on-premise started coming up. And also cloud was slowly coming by then. Cloud was not still a mainstream. AWS announced that there is something called cloud that is coming up. We started using for a few other things. We all questioned ourselves, well, Gmail is cloud. I have been using cloud at least since 1990s, 2000. What are you talking about cloud now? So that was the puzzle and the question going on in everyone's head. Oh, okay, cloud means I can store the data rather than in my Windows folder into the cloud, is it? That is what is cloud. That is, I am already doing it, right? Dropbox is there. So what is cloud you're talking about? Then slowly the entire scheme of things came about. Dude, you don't have to run infrastructure for your organization anymore. We will run it for you. You don't have to have your custom built products going for multiple providers anymore. We will have this lined up for you. So from ingestion to insights, everything will be available. Now, if you think about it, there are like 200 to 250 products that is available within AWS, Azure, GCP. So these are all more like an ecosystem scheme of things. But in 2000 till 2010, new players on the on-premise started coming up. Non-relational databases went on the rise. A few other things. They said, this is the new reality. This is the new reality. Everything else is going to die. So that is how it started happening. In 2015, there was even a major product war. Redshift was the clear winner in terms of the database space. Snowflake and Redshift were like different products in 2015. They started with a few other offerings of the data ingestion. They started with more offerings from the insights, but it was still not an ecosystem. It was still a platform concept in 2015. 2016 onwards, there was even more interesting because whatever was like a diverged product started converging back again. Azure came and declared HD Insights as a strategic platform in 2016. In 2020, there were strategic changes. What was a winnable platform in 2015 was like completely different, even within the firm. So, for example, Microsoft came and said, oh no, HD Insight is not my strategic platform anymore. I'm introducing something called Synapse for you. Synapse is going to be a strategic platform. That will be your big data platform. So for every 3 to 5 years, this particular landscape kept changing. So now also it's the same. 2023, the moving goalpost is like even bigger. We have 2022 saw awakening for all of us. We had something called generative AI, which we just saw it in the Gartner roadmap in one corner. And it was in the hype cycle. You will see it in the start of the hype cycle. In 2020, when I just did a Gartner survey and I did a similar session, in the Gartner hype cycle, I saw generative AI on the left. Now it is all on the right. It's all over the place now. So we know Everyone has started thinking, is generative AI going to take my job? Someone is saying no. Knowing AI will not take your job. Not knowing AI will take your job. Someone who knows AI will take your job. So these are the things that is coming up. So we saw that the file formats has been kept changing. We saw Parquet, Avro, Hoodie. We now have something called Arrow. We saw Delta. Now we are talking about Iceberg. Everyone says that Iceberg is a new reality. How did Iceberg came by? Because Netflix thought that Hive is not able to run on top of the Parquet format, or the Parquet is columnar format. Avro is row format. Delta is like incremental and columnar format. You have Hoodie, which is incremental. You have Arrow. So all these file formats, I'm not able to run my analytics because I'm getting a trillion data per second. Then what is the best answer for me? They said that in 2020 they all said that data lake is the new reality, but the RDBMS will reach a slow death. At least over the last RDBMS has been there for 50 years, if we all know. RDBMS died at least 15 times. It came back to life like a virus. It came back to life like a uh, like Nokia. So this particular RDBMS, which died 15 times, is back in the reality in iceberg format. They say Netflix slowly discovered that, oh, actually, you know what? If I run Hive directly on Parquet, it's not working because it's a columnar format. It's extremely compressed. It will take time for me to decompress. So what will work best on it is a tabular format. That's what people said 50 years ago. A tabular format is the best. So 2020 saw the data mesh as the big thing. So what it is all telling us, the problem is the same. In 2000 when I started working, we were solving for thousands of data sets. Oh, we are not able to, per second, I'm receiving thousands of data. I'm not able to scale up the performance. Whatever hardware I have, whatever chip is there, I'm not able to solve for it. As the chip increased over time, your mobile is better than your 1990 computers as of today. You are still talking about the same problem. The problem is not different. We are still talking about performance. We are still talking about availability. We are still talking about timeliness. Why? It should have improved, right? In the last 20 years, if all we did was like innovating in the chip industry big time, NVIDIA, if you look about it, that is one of the biggest stock market breakers in the world. Then how did we end up in this situation that we are talking about the same problem till date? You go and ask your IT department, what is the top 3 problem you're trying to solve for? Everyone will say performance. Everyone will say, oh, how do I get the timely data correctly? Because the problem statement remains the same. Only the additional zeros has been included now. What we were solving for 100 records in the 90s, tens in the 80s, thousands in the 2000s, we are solving for trillions of records now. So the problem is the same. If the problem is the same, solution need not be any different. That is what Iceberg told you. Table was able to solve the problem yesterday. Table will be able to solve the problem today. So that's all to it. So when you have the problem is not different, solution need not be different also. We don't have to. So the premise that I'm trying to make here, the point that I'm trying to make here, going digital is a moving goalpost, and how you can handle this. There will be new products every 24 hours. That is the place we are in, because with generative AI, everyone will try to capture the market and everyone will try to make $1,000,000. Does not mean that we have to run behind every new technology that is coming up. We have to just understand what the problem is. We have to ask ourselves, was this problem there 10 years ago? Was this problem there 30 years ago? Yes, the same problems were there 10 years ago and 30 years ago. If the problems are the same, why solutions has to be different? I'm not talking about the technology. I'm talking about the conceptual solutions. Solutions need not be different. So then how do we pick the product? So that is how we pick the product that can stand the test of the time for the next 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, and 10 years. Because for certain scheme of things, we cannot keep changing the product. So, but also we should be cognizant of the fact that if we are moving to cloud is not going to remain static. If you see about see how Azure has changed the direction, Microsoft has changed the direction. In 2016, they said HD Insights is a strategic platform. 2020 came about Synapse. 2000, I think 2022, they invested, 2021-22, they went and invested truckload of money on Databricks and said Databricks is their platform. They actually got an external platform and they went against themselves and said Databricks is the platform. 2023, we all know that they are coming up with something called data fabric, which is a opposite strategy to Databricks. So now in 7 years time, Microsoft changed its strategy 7 times, 4 times. So that is the reality of the situation we are all in. So when the cloud providers will keep changing their strategy, we will also, if we are moving to cloud, we may also be forced to change the product and the direction, but not the concept, not the solution per se. So I will talk in a bit how we can handle this particular moving goalpost. This is the reality of the digital transformation world we are in. So one point, if I have to say, what is the difference between non-digital transformation and digital transformation is we will be always chasing the moving goalpost. Number one. Number two, the luxury that we had in yesteryears on premise, where in finance specifically, being in finance, I have worked in finance all my life. Being from finance, write once and run for the next 20 years, 30 years, that comfort period is gone. We cannot write once and run for the next 30 years because Microsoft is changing its strategy every 2 years, 3 years. I cannot have a single strategy for the next 30 years because I cannot sustain in that particular model. I have to change. Then how do we change? How do we make sure we change based on the product direction, but still not change like crazy, like a Tom and Jerry, right? So in most of the cases, Jerry is your business. Tom will have to catch up with Jerry. Tom is your technology. But now in the cloud world, the games has been reversed. Now Tom is running, Jerry is catching. So Tom is your technology, business is trying to catch up. So this Tom and Jerry race, the race has changed. We saw it. Whoever has worked for a couple of decades, they would have visibly seen this pattern changing. Earlier, we will choose technology to solve a business problem. Now we are picking a technology and trying to look for a business problem. It should never be the case. It should still be what is the business problem I am solving for, whether this technology will work or not. It should not be like, oh, iceberg is the best. I'm going to look for a business problem and going to solve for it. It should not be like that. Databricks seems to be the best. I'm going to look for a business problem. It should never be like that. Yes, I have an analytics use case. Yes, for this particular analytics use case, end to end from data till ingestion till AIMI, I think Databricks will be the best use case. I'm going to see if Databricks can work, Data IQ can work, can AWS SageMaker work. Just don't go for one product and decide the direction because that will not work because the product is going to change the direction. So take the business use case, put 3 to 4 products and review which product will be more suitable, which product has a more forward-looking landscape because our changes will have to be forward-looking, and we are here to do business, not change technology every year. The whole idea of going to cloud is what? The whole idea of going to cloud is I do not want to manage my infrastructure. I do not want to manage scheme of things. So I want to go to cloud so that I can focus on my business. But if the cloud providers are changing strategy every year or every 2 years, then I will have to spend my time more on the technology than I was doing in on-premise. So the selection of the technology in this particular moving goalpost, taking advantage of the cloud, because we have no other option now, we still have to do digital transformation. I still want my infrastructure and scheme of things because they have 250 products. It becomes ecosystem for me. It is easier. I still want to leverage cloud. But how do I make sure I meaningfully make the changes and I control the blast radius of these changes? That is the work of the architect. That is the work of the engineer. That is the work of the overall scheme of things with business. But the starting point is business. We try to understand the business problem and try to address it accordingly. Then only we will be able to understand the trees and build a forest around it. We cannot always go behind the technology. So this is the point that I wanted to start with. Going digital is a moving goalpost. Handle with care, but we have to do what we have to do. Yes, I want cloud, but how will I solve for my solutions? The one point, if I have to talk through from this slide and give you a takeaway, is problems are the same. Solutions need not be different. That is what every product direction is telling us. That is what iceberg is telling us. So the next point I would like to walk through is Gartner Magic Quadrant. So Gartner Magic Quadrant, just to give you a quick walk away. So Gartner Magic Quadrant has this four parts, right? You will have the niche players, you have the visionaries, you have the challengers and the leaders. So you can say that niche player place. So this Magic Quadrant, I have two Magic Quadrant if you see. So the first Magic Quadrant is 20 to 21 comparison. This I presented in 2020-21. The second Magic Quadrant is 22 to 23 comparison. We will go through in a bit. So if you see this, the niche players space was practically empty in 2020. Within a year, the niche player space filled up. I'm focusing on the database management system. I'm not burning the ocean by bringing all the cloud scheme of things, because this one thing, if you look at it itself, it's a epitome of how the landscape is converging, how the landscape is changing. For you to put into perspective, this is how things are happening. If you see in 2021, the leadership space, whoever were there in the challenges and the visionary space, say for example, Databricks was a visionary in 2020, it moved to the leadership space in 2021 because they promoted themselves to be a leader. So like that, AWS went from here to there. They actually hit the 300 billion mark, if I'm not wrong, during that period. Microsoft and Oracle became the close competitors. How Oracle came into the space is interesting. Oracle was a product to begin with, then they created ecosystem because they had to catch up. Oracle was, in fact, one of the original cloud thinkers to begin with, but somehow they changed the strategy, thinking that SAP is their competitor and cloud is not the competition. So they invested heavily on SAP rather than cloud. So these are the scheme of things. If you see SAP, how SAP has advanced, how Snowflake went from a challenger space into a leadership space. This particular Gartner map, and reading the Gartner map, so you will see multiple Gartner maps, right? You will see the data management system Gartner hype cycle. In the data space itself, you will have 6 to 7 maps, very important and critical maps. There will be a data management map also, and there are few others in the cloud space, and few others in the ingestion space, few others in insight space, etc. You just take 5 spaces, right? So from ingestion to insights and AAML, if you just observe the Gartner map for 5 spaces, you will just see how the trends are shifting. This is how you become a technology leader also, right? So if you want to get to the technology leadership, the best is to catch up with the Gartner and zoom into each of these areas and see how things are navigating and what is happening into this particular space. So if you see this in the between 2022 and 23, what has happened is you will see that few of the things have dropped and few of the things have started going on, right? And in between, COVID happened. So after COVID, you will know that because of the Series B and the Series C funding, natural exit of few of the products, people were not using individual products, ecosystem became more advantageous. COVID showed us that cloud is the way to go, because you cannot have everything in on-premise. Say a company like HSBC, bank like HSBC, which has say 60 branches across the world, how will you able to maintain individual data centers and make all your over 100,000 employees work from home, be it HSBC or Standard Chartered or Barclays? These are all pretty massive problems to solve. Then we naturally thought that, yes, cloud is the way to go. COVID actually gave way to more digital transformation. What was like was 12% to 13% adoption went up to immediate 60% adoption because of the COVID. We saw that in the front of the eyes. We are seeing how Alibaba Cloud is moving in that leadership space. What happened to InterSystem? What is happening to the Redis? Redis was in the challenger space, now moved to the visionary space. Now, what is happening to EDB? What is happening to Neo4j? Neo4j has been doing extremely well and moving to the visionary space because this is one of the best graph DBs in the town. And we saw that, yes, I have been handling relational data, etc. But I see that loads of data that is happening within the firm. I just can't live with the set language alone. I have to have the nodes constructed and have to have map across the organization and outside the organization. Then only I will be able to build knowledge graphs. Then only I will be able to do causal analysis across the firm. So that what data RDBMS gives me is the power of query across board. What Neo4j gives me is what are the business opportunities. My data, if I'm doing 100x benefit, if I'm getting 100x benefit from RDBMS, I'll get 1000x benefit from GraphDB. So that is what Neo4j is telling us. Now, Neo4j or Tiger Graph or any graph that is getting onto the visionary space, and slowly they will move into the leadership space. So this is the trend we are seeing. Many products you will see between 2020 2023 with my just 10% brain power, I can say that many circles has been dropped, many circles have been included. So this is the moving goalpost and the world and the reality of the situation we are in. So I don't want to bore you with this Gartner inference, which I got it from ChatGPT. So, but the idea is like, who are the leaders, who are the visionaries, what is happening in this particular space, what is happening to the databases like CockroachDB, etc., etc., etc. So this is purely data management system. I just wanted to give you an idea. But this is not the only Gartner map. We are all aware that this is not the only Gartner map. There are so many maps available, and that is pretty interesting. Now, how organizations can navigate this moving goalpost? That is a point that I started with. I want to close the loop with this thought on this first topic. McDonald's is the biggest food supplier in the world. They do not own a single farm. Sorry. There is a lesson we have to learn from that. If you watch the movie Founder, this is not a decision by accident. This is a very, very clear, well thought of decision, because I want to focus on my business. What is my business? I want to be the biggest food supplier in the world. Every kid, every adult in the corner should be able to come and have lunch at my desk. Now, I will focus on the real estate and food for that matter, not on the farming. So farming, I will use someone else's services, but I'm going to focus on my business, and I will keep my shop open 24/7, and I will make sure every city, every major city will have a McDonald's shop in there. We saw that happening. And it is not like a 100-year or 200-year in this company, right? They were able to achieve it in few decades. So similarly, maintaining infrastructure, I would compare farming to infrastructure. Maintaining infrastructure is not our core business unless you are a technology company, unless you are Oracle, unless you are AWS, unless you are Microsoft. Maintaining infrastructure is not your business. Doing business is your business. If I'm finance company, say if I am HSBC, taking money and giving back returns is your business, is my business. If I'm manufacturing, my business is different. I could be a car manufacturer. I should not be running the biggest infrastructure in the world, because AWS or Azure or GCP or Ali Cloud, they are adept in doing that. That is their day job. We should give the infrastructure to them, in my opinion, and we should take care of our business. But as I already said, this is a moving goalpost, right? Now, how do I give my infrastructure to someone else and allow them to run it, and I do the digital transformation on top of it? So we can do all this, and we can navigate this particular changing goalpost in a very structured and very disciplined manner. First of all, what we have to do is decouple at all levels of architecture, from the minutest code to go for microservices, so that anything can be changed anytime and it is quick for deployment. Go for CI/CD. Do not link your delivery and development. So go for databases and code as a separate thing. Go for compute and compute and uh, storage decoupling. So decoupling is not only compute and storage. Decoupling has to be done at all levels. Then only, say for example, if Snowflake is there, Snowflake is giving you Snowpipe and Snowpark. If you want to write everything, you make sure you write a neutral thing, take advantage of the cloud. At the same time, you will be able to exit. So now you will have to write every line of code with the exit class in mind. This is the new problem that the engineers are facing. This is like a new engineering altogether, right? Yesterday we did not have this problem. Yesterday the problem we had is like whether my code will work or not. I'm writing a Java, I'm writing PLSQL inside Oracle and having my storage and compute at the same level. Now, how can I solve this particular problem? Decoupling is your answer. Modular IT is your answer. Cloud native architecture is your answer. I'm not saying have a cloud agnostic architecture. You won't find a huge benefit if you go for a cloud agnostic architecture. You still have to go for a cloud native architecture, but how can you run this particular thing efficiently? Leverage multi-cloud strategy so that you can do a vendor, you can exit out of the vendor lock-in by design. Don't be too scared and held up about vendor lock-in. Where there is not vendor lock-in, vendor lock-in is everywhere. How they do business without vendor locking? We can't say that, oh, I will not go to cloud because vendor locking. I will not go to Snowflake because vendor locking. No, vendor locking is everywhere. You buy and install Oracle in your on-premise, you are logged into Oracle. It is not like in the next 6 months you can store, you can throw away $5 million box and can buy another thing. That is lock-in. There will be different forms of lock-ins. Technology lock-in we have been living with. We know like how COBOL programmers are paid millions of dollars today because COBOL have for few firms where COBOL has been on for a very long time. They are they are on it. So mainframe, everyone thinks it is dead. Then why AWS has a mainframe? So mainframe in this digital era, if mainframe is there, we know as a matter of fact somewhere some code is running in mainframe. In financial organization, a code that was built 50 years ago, this particular mainframe has been supporting it. Now I do not want to change the entire like 2 million lines of code and risk my consumer journey. Then what do I do? AWS will have to create a mainframe stack for me. So that is the reality we are in. So we understand that particular scheme of things and leverage multi-cloud strategy, leverage decoupling as a first principle, and we have deeper understanding of the cloud and what is a must-have and how we navigate this particular space. That is the only thing. So because like economic cycle, boom and bust, this particular cloud changing here and there, it is like a constant evolving process. We cannot stop it because the reason is simple if you think about it. AWS, say for example, they have Aurora today, right? So Aurora is the database. Say they have built it to supremely well played from PostgreSQL. Now that turbocharges, turbo performance. Now will AWS make money by creating Aurora 1, Aurora 25, Aurora 545, Aurora 755? No, right? Aurora, AWS as a company will make money because it is just a delta change for you. I am just taking you from Aurora 1 to Aurora 5 to Aurora 7. As a consumer business relationship, I'm not taking money from your pocket. Where I will be able to money from your pocket is if I move from Aurora to Barora and say that Barora is the best. That could be Aurora 547 for all you know. But I create this particular new product, new wave, new theme, and say that, dude, I have created a wave. Come on, participate in that wave. Otherwise, you will be left out. Unless I as AWS, I as Microsoft, I as GCP, not doing that, I will not be able to do the bang for the bucks. I will have to let you decommission Aurora or X and move to Y. That is my business strategy. That is why I'm paid for. If that is my business strategy, what are you facing? What are you looking at as a forward looking strategy? Change. Change is the only and the new reality. We all know that we are looking at change as a landscape. We are now looking at change as a constant theme. Yesterday we were telling, oh, we should be ready for change because change is the only thing that will not change. Now we are facing it. Change is the only thing that will not change is the new reality. So write once and run for the next 20 years. We are out of that comfort zone. We may have to rewrite applications every 3 years. We may have to rewrite things. So we will have to go in a more decoupled manner. Then only we can reduce the cost of change every time. So that now the top line goal for any leader, technology leader, is how do I reduce the cost of change? So that is the top line initiative and the top line goal because there is no other goal. So if I want you to take one point from this particular thing is, yes, digital transformation is a moving goalpost. We will have to, but we can prepare for it. How do we navigate? Decouple at all levels, modularize at all levels, leverage multi-cloud. So, but do not say no to cloud because that is where your advantages, that is where you can have your competitive advantage. You will lose out on the competitive advantage if you are not moving to cloud. We will have to move to cloud, but in a calculated manner. The second point I want to talk about is yes, cloud. First point I just took over half an hour because that is the most important topic and I wanted to throw some weight on that. The second point I want to talk about is the entropy and cloud. We all know the concept of entropy, right? So low entropy means high predictability. High entropy means low. If between solid and liquid, liquid will have high entropy, solid will have low entropy because the movement is more in liquid and the movement is less in solid. Say ice cube, the movement will be less, but water, the movement will be more. That is a known thing. Now your cloud and on-premise is like a solid and water. So your cloud is like water. Why do I say so? Hardware in the on-premise is built to last. It has simplified network components. It has high quality and built to last hardware. You take Sun Microsystems, you take HP, any hardware, it is built to last, but it will have a depreciation cycle. But you can be very certain about that particular depreciation cycle. You will wake up to the same hardware every single day. Rare unpredictable failures will happen because these are all extremely well engineered system. You take Oracle with the engineered system. It's an extremely well engineered system with Sun Microsystem. Exadata failure is a rare event unless you decide to go and hit the server and crash it. Now, cloud hardware, especially serverless, you wake up to your new hardware every single day. That is the first thing because serverless is like this, right? So I put the serverless, I say 5 is my minimum number of servers and 75 is the maximum number of servers. As you spin up and spin down, you wake up to your new hardware every single day. Cloud hardware is not built to last. You don't know how the hardware is changing in the background. Introduction of new components, what is simplified network, what you had in on-premise versus the introduction of new components that is applicable to cloud, be it VPC, be it transient gateway, be it direct connect. These are all new world. Yes, we have been there for 5 to 7 years, but in the scale of like 50, 70 years of technology, this is still invented 24 days ago. These are all complex. These are all, your engineers needs to be trained for it. Your engineers will have to know what is the complexity we are dealing with in this particular space. So that is the first thing related to hardware. The second thing is the nature of the failures and the support that we were dealing with in on-premise that has been changed for good, changed forever. Why do I say so? In on-premise, let us say, for example, I have a query and my engineer went and delivered a change at 3 p.m. Say a change has been done to PostgreSQL and Cassandra. By mistake, the developer delivers a bug. This can happen. And which degrades the performance by 20%. My batch stalled, my batch failed. That is the reality of on-premise. Now, what will happen in cloud, especially serverless and scheme of things, right? Especially auto scaling. Auto scaling is our friend, but handle with care because auto scaling can be our foe and can break the bank. Your 1 year budget can be spent overnight on a batch. Why do I say so? Say, for example, the same program that is delivered to cloud, first, the auto scaling friend will think that, okay, the batch is running, okay, started. Now the leader node has given things to the worker node. The worker node has started. 3 worker nodes has been started. Okay, the results are not out. Start 3 more worker nodes. Start 3 more worker nodes. Start 3 more worker nodes. 150 is the limit. From 3, go to 150 and come back. Yes, you have to put observability and everything, but you are waking up to a completely new hardware the next day. It is not in the stable state, right? In on-premise, the hardware stands at the same place where you left it. In cloud, the hardware has moved and come back. So it is not the same hardware anymore. So how do you mitigate these problems? You will have to put a deeper observability, your monitoring, your notifications, everything will have to be supremely well played. The engineering in on-premise and engineering in cloud are two different things. It's two different animals. You will have to train your engineers. We will have to train your engineers. We'll have to train ourselves for it. Cloud is a new world. It is just not only the infrastructure. If someone says, you are running this particular application in server A, tomorrow you are going to run this application in server B on cloud. What's a big deal? This is the big deal, my friend. The big deal is we are walking in the completely entropic world. Low entropy and the high entropy is the difference. The difference is it is not the same hardware I am waking up to every morning. That is the difference. And that is a big difference. In on-premise, I don't have to put that much observability. But in cloud, I'll have to have so much of observability, so much of monitoring, be it CloudWatch, be it Datadog. Why Datadog is so popular? because of this reason. Why CloudWatch is a must-have? Why SNS is a must-have? Because of this reason. So monitor there we cannot fly blind. We cannot not go to cloud, and we cannot fly blind on cloud. There is a now we have almost perfected. We all know that be it AWS solution architects or Azure or GCP solution architects, they give us a proper wave planning and template to say that you are moving to cloud. This is your migration. Follow these steps, these 15 steps, you will be safe in our hands. There is nothing, these are all non-negotiable. We must follow what the experts say. We are in safe hands that way. I will say that if you are thinking of digital transformation, engage with the experts. Let them guide you properly. Their guidance is extremely important because they know what we don't know. We may know X, but they know X plus Y. That X plus Y will make or break in the cloud. So if I have to tell one thing, that is the takeaway I want you to think about from this. So I already spoke about this. How to handle entropy in cloud is observability, chaos engineering. Chaos engineering is you pull the plugs and test it because Netflix does it. That's a Netflix. That is a lesson that Netflix is providing us. Stable state. How do you get to the stable state in this particular entropy world, high entropy world? You have to do chaos engineering. That is all. Managing volatility and effective observability. So decoupling, flexible architecture, monitoring, and notification. These are the things you can handle the entropy world. The third topic that I want to talk about is the selection, technology selection, right? Product or platform or ecosystem. What should I select? Because there is always a confusion. There is, if you take database, there is Snowflake, there is Teradata, there is EDB, PostgreSQL, there is PostgreSQL, there is RDS in AWS, there is BigQuery, there is Redshift. So which one should I go for, right? So one of the guiding factors that I usually use is product versus platform versus ecosystem. I go for the ecosystem. Who has the more ecosystem benefits? Who provide me from end-to-end architecture, where it is easier for me to decouple, where it is easier for me to install? Because the what between yesterday and today, even though I am dealing with the entropic world, it is still providing me a world where I can deal with one vendor. If I'm going for AWS or Azure, I will be able to have my problems contained. Even if I go for multi-cloud, all I have to talk to is 3 vendors, not 30 vendors as I was doing on-premise. So we should leverage the ecosystem benefit. So now, yesterday it was only a build versus buy model. Now it is a buy versus build versus subscribe model. That is a new reality. Pay as you go, go lean and mean. If one thing does not work, go for the next thing. So that is what the generative AI space has taught us. So yes, large language models is all over the world, but you can build so many things with small models, small language models, and can just throw away and adopt the new, because we are in the moving landscape. So moving goalpost means we will have to have a better selection of the technology, better selection of the tools. So it's just not the technology anymore. Yesterday we were talking about technology. We only had to solve the problem of Oracle versus SQL Server. We never had 150 database options. With option brings confusion. So now, then what should be a first principle? My first principle should be ecosystem. I will go for an ecosystem that is better. What is the difference between platform and ecosystem? Platform is, I have 25 products and I have a platform, but internally it won't talk to each other. You will have to build the queues and pipes and make it connect so that it will work. What is the ecosystem? Everything is inherently available. Now you just put this particular solution architecture via Terraform, and your solution is ready. Go for it. That's it. It's like it's extremely commoditized. Now, how do we leverage that commoditization? Is via the ecosystem. Going on to the most important topic of the day is the security and cloud. They are friends and best foes. Security has to do what they have to do, right? Because, say, for example, any organization who have survived for over 100 years know that putting data in my cloud is directly putting business on my cloud. No business will want to put their business in someone else's lap, because they know that data is the primary thing based on which my business is run. If I'm putting my data, say for example, in a financial organization, if they are putting their client data onto cloud, then you are losing your spinal cord if the client data gets exposed in any event, right? So This is the thing they are on. Now, security, CISO is your friend. They may be putting so many restrictions, but you have to understand that why they are doing it and how they are mitigating this risk. If we have to just take do a giveaway of two things from this sliders, on-premise security is like a military. Security has been there to ring fence your entire on-premise. Even if your application security is like Excel can really break, right? So even if your application security or internal database security is like Excel, if the military is good, even the state security is not good, if the overall military border security is good, your on-premise is still secured. But cloud is not like that. Cloud cannot have only military. It has to have police station. Every street must have a police station. That is the cloud reality. How can you have police stations? Each and every developers will have to understand what component that I'm working on, what is the level of security I have to take. In cloud, the security must be like police station. When I say that, practically, your every component must have 5 to 7 layers of security, from subnet to VPC to IAM to I'm taking the jargons of AWS here, but it's the same thing that is available in every other cloud provider. Subnet to VPC to IAM to KMS to encryption at rest transfer, masking, tokenization. Call it, name it, you have to do it. Then the engineer becomes a security expert today. Engineer is not just an engineer anymore. I know Java. I can run for money against a Facebook developer. Good, but do you know security? Do you know how to ring fence your systems? Do you know how to go and sit and have a conversation with the security folks and tell them what you are doing? Talk about the data classification and ensure that it is completely secured, ring fenced, and you don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. And you know that if there is a hack in my next box, my box does not get hacked. How do you ensure that? So follow a strong industry-specific governance and the compliance. You could be healthcare, you could be finance, you could be manufacturing. That regulators provide that compliance. Now your security team will tell you, do this, do this. They are not trying to stifle you. They are not trying to hold your hand. They are not trying to tie your hands. They are there to help. We just have to understand where they are coming from. Do regular patches. Go for managed services. Don't go for unmanaged services. Don't spin up a EC2 instance and do everything by yourself. It's good, but if there is an alternate available in the managed services, go for it, because the patches are like automatically going on. You will never be on the previous version. You will never be 10 versions away. Your minor version and major version, you will be running along with it. If you go for managed services, go for zero trust security model. So the one takeaway I have to say is like, yeah, cloud is risky, cloud is exposed, but you can enjoy cloud in a more secured way. No storms allowed. So finally, digital transformation and security as a balanced approach. That is the topic of the day. I will like to end with that. We saw so many cases in the recent past, right? We saw things about DBS. DBS was not a cloud problem, but it went down. Versus AWS versus Snowflake incident. Let's just take this. DBS in 2019, I think, if I'm not wrong, and recently, when the system went down, you know what is the penalty and what is the part of the money they will have to park, and how MAS went against them. So that is correct, right? Like now, do we know what happened when AWS had an outage or Snowflake incident happened with the info stealing malware? So this is the reality we are in. So this particular scheme of things, a Snowflake incident or AWS incident, with the new risk that has emerged, where companies trusting cloud, DWH has not only been risked, but the customer trusting the cloud has been risked. So now it is our responsibility as users. We cannot say, oh, I say no to cloud because a Snowflake incident happened. Your on-premise server would have failed 350 times during the last 5 years, but cloud has failed you only 1 or 2 times. 99%, 99.99% availability is a big thing. So I won't say no to cloud, but take a balanced approach and go for cloud. From data streams to secure dreams, balance is the key. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you. Done with my monologue.
Okay, we have some time for Q&A. So if you have questions, please do type into the Q&A. Maybe I can start to ask Lakshmi. It's a very detailed sharing and lots of different types of examples. So, and I think in your first few slides, you talk about the different trend. So what would be your take for the trends that, you know, the AI and so on? What would you encourage people to look at? Because there are so many trends to actually focus on.
For sure, AI is the new reality. We cannot escape generative AI because generative AI is the new reality. We all know. We will have to stay on top of that. If you are a technology leader, read the industry insights, read the blog, stay on top of what is happening, which product is doing what, which product is going down. More than every product introduced every 48 hours, which products is going down every 3 months is also a good understanding to know. There are loads of generative AI conferences that are started. Most of it is via Zoom call. It's easy to attend those conferences. So these are all for technology leaders to developers. Developers, they know who are hands-on. They already know that it is a moving goalpost, big time. So what is the best way to do is, like, instead of going for one large language model and build everything around it, go more decoupling based, create API and just use the tokens based on the API, so that if you put it behind the scene, large language model behind this API gateway, you can change. You have more luxury and freedom to change. So understand what is your degree of freedom. What is the level of degree of freedom you want to have in this particular operating space? When the technology is moving a lot, you will have to design systems such that your degree of freedom is more. If you are, that is, you decouple more. If you decouple less, then your degree of freedom will be less, which means you won't be able to have competitive advantage with any new technology or new AI models or anything that gets released. So the advice is the same, be it for digital transformation or AI, go for loose coupling and explore and exploit the new advantages that is coming your way. That's the only thing I'll say.
Thank you. We do have a question, but I think it's linked to what you have said. But let me read out the question. The question from Ajit. What could be the main parameters to consider for secure design in AI and new technologies? And will these parameters also change as you know, companies don't design so frequently?
One thing we have to say is the working assumption is change. That we already spoke. Ajit will know better than me that if he is working within his organization, he will exactly know and will be able to name the person who are ready for change, who are not ready for change. Things are going on in all of your mind, right? Oh, this particular person, oh my God, like, as a matter of fact. Now, so it is not only a technology problem, it is a negotiation problem. It is the people. So technology is changing at this pace. People are changing at this pace. That's a reality of the situation. People will not change fast than the technology. They don't have to change because whether I change or not, I receive my salary, I receive my bonus. I'm happy. I will get promoted. I know every 3 years, 5 years, I will get promotion. I know. Then why would I risk a change, fail it? Because if I don't change, I don't have a penalty. If I change, if I have a penalty, if I fail, then people will be more secure not to change. So more than the design, the first thing is we have to change this particular thought process of get ready for change. Change is coming your way. You cannot have your change mindset like this. You at least have to hop on a bit more. So first, if we have that particular thing, talk to people, and if we make them understand that change is for real, change is coming, then we put a strategy. Strategy is not like a project plan, and assuming that the strategy will evolve, not change every 5 years. We cannot keep tearing the papers every 6 months and say I have a new strategy every 6 months. People will lose confidence in you. We cannot have a new strategy. We can evolve the design. Design will have to be in such a way that to the point that I was insisting, if we go for a more modular architecture and more better design in terms of decoupling, then my design can evolve, not change. Design should not change. I know that underlying technology will change. So if I have that particular working assumption, then I can control a change in a much more strategic fashion. Now we need to, every organization will have to have a strategy for change. Yes, this change is happening. My business change is happening. Now, how do I meet in the middle? Where do I meet? Because I have no other option. I cannot say technology cannot change. Yesterday, our technology will change. Say, for example, Oracle, we will go for the next version. When Oracle or SQL Server says that by in 2 months, I will stop the support. Then we will all go and run. We will gather entire engineers in the organization and will do a massive one-time change. That that particular day has gone. We are not in that comfort zone anymore. The change is going to hit every month, every year. Now, how do we prepare for it? We cannot keep changing the design. Design can only evolve.
Thank you.
That's my thought.
I hope that answers your question, Ajit. And just asking for any final questions from the listeners, participants. Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you very much, Lakshmi. But for the rest, please stay on so that I can flash up the survey screen for you to give us your feedback around today's webinar. At the same time, is also to ensure that we are getting your comments and feedback to improve the upcoming webinars. At the same time, to award each of you CPE hours for participation. So please use the QR code or the link as stated over here on the screen to provide us your feedback. And then once again, I'd like to thank Lakshmi for your time in sharing with us and the ISACA members and participants with regards to how to balance innovation, digital transformation, as well as security. Indeed, a very insightful sharing session today. Thank you very much, Lakshmi. So everyone, you can use the QR code. The link is on sorry, you can't access the link directly. You need to type if you can't use the QR code. So for feedback using the Survey Monkey shown over here, that's why I refer to the link. Thank you. And once you are done with giving us your comments and feedback, remember to submit, and then you can log off, and we will actually register your attendance and provide you with the CP hours via our secretariat. So have a restful Friday and enjoy the weekend. Thank you very much. Can everyone see the screen? It's on the screen. Thanks, Ajit. Joyce, let me know if you can't. But I believe everyone is able to access the screen in the QR code. For the rest who are still online, you can log off once you're done with the survey. Unless you have any problems, please let me know. I will be logging off shortly, so just let me know if you still need more time. Thanks, Joyce. Calvin, Sean, and Suri and YC, I'm logging off soon. So do you still need more time for the survey?